Hi y'all. Okay, we are going to try this. I'm at work, so who knows if I will get interrupted here during my conference, but I'm gonna try this today so that I can have the weekend with my family. So let's see. First of all, my teaching context. I teach at Talkington School for Young Women Leaders in Lubbock, Texas, and I teach 8th grade RLA and senior seminar, which is their project. I'm using, because there's not a lot of, that's not true, but I'm using my 8th grade RLA for this because that's where I need more work, I guess. It's easy to personalize the senior seminar because it's already kind of personalized inherently. So I'm working with my 8th graders. And so my 3 main goals, I kept my SMART goals from the beginning of the semester, and they are to measure and use social emotional learning data. So that's been a challenge. It's always, I feel like it's really important right now with just the climate and how students are doing. So I really wanted to make an effort because I think that's one of the hardest types of data to collect and use. So I really wanted to challenge myself to do that because I feel like it's important. So I kept with that goal, and then to set SMART goals, SMART or hard, I use both, SMART or hard goals each 9 weeks, and have for the girls that they set them and monitor them throughout the grading period, and then have a reflection at the end of the 9 weeks and use their data, and they will look at it themselves to set their next goal. And so we just had our conferences, which I'll get to in just a second. And then my last goal was to send 25 postcards per 9 weeks. I'm actually a little ahead on that one. So I just keep a list and check it off on who I've sent postcards to, and the girls really like that and talk about that because I think they're so used to electronic communication that it's just kind of novel and quirky and whatever to get this postcard in the mail. So that's been really fun. So just when some moments happen with girls in a week, I'll try to make a mental note, or usually it's on Fridays. I do my postcards. I just kind of think about, what's gone on in the week, who I kind of connected with, what was going on with people, and write those notes. So I've kept with the same SMART goals. Let's see, what data have I gathered for my SMART goals? So I'm using student expectations / TEKS, I guess, on my CFAs that are done bi-weekly, and then the district assessment, which was kind of a mess because whoever wrote it over the summer really wanted the distractors to be distracting, and and so they had to throw out all but 7 questions. So those were the ones we were allowed to go over with the class and use data from. So I had to recalibrate or refigure what their percentage score would be for 7 questions, which kind of ended up being a luck situation for some of them because I was looking at them, and some of the girls that I know really struggle happened to get those 7 questions right, whereas students who normally excel might have missed 1 or 2 on there. So I really feel like the data were skewed just based off of the number of questions that we could use there. I'm also using iStation. So at our school, because we are a college prep school, we kind of use it differently than the rest of the district. If they score a level 4 or 5, that means they're close to capping out of the program anyway. So they are not required to do iStation. So it kind of gives them some choice in what they do when the others have their iStation requirement. And of course, as they take an ISIP at the beginning of the month, and so then it measures them in different areas of reading, vocabulary, word analysis, comprehension, fluency, that sort of thing. And then they will get practices based on where they're struggling. So it does personalize their instruction to a certain degree. And so my levels 1, 2, and 3 are working on that. And my levels 4 and 5 get to do independent reading or different things at that time to personalize their own growth. And they can use vocabulary.com. That's some data that I'm using, which I just realized I did not include in any of the things I turned in. But vocabulary.com has a great use of data. And so I can track how long they spend on there and that sort of thing. And we're using that right now in coordination with the book that we're doing, because they have lists for so many things. And so we're doing it with the giver right now. And then when we finish the book, we will do PSAT words for the remainder of the grading period. So let's see. Eduphoria, vocabulary.com, iStation, also Rhythm, which is the new SEL program that I started using, and it's amazing. It does have some glitches. I can set it for different things. So I can set it for if they put a note that has certain words, or if they respond in a negative with a negative emoji for however many days, or if they score it scores them daily on their frequency, which tells you if they're in the mind frame for optimal learning. I kind of wonder if I'm ever in the frame for optimal learning, but anyway, so it does that. And then you can tailors videos for your whole group, or for independent students if they are dealing with something. So, if they're having a hard time focusing, it'll give them a video for that. Or if they're nervous, it might give them meditation or something. So I kind of watch the highs and the lows on that. And I check my alerts daily. I have it set for sending me an email as well, so I don't have to go into the program to look. So I'll get an email, and sometimes they're kind of funny. I get some false alarms, false alerts, like my pants are too tight today, or my Halloween costume is really uncomfortable, or I stubbed my toe and it really hurts. But I'd rather get the false alarms than not get any alarms at all, because I have gotten the ones that I was up all night crying last night. I really don't want to go home today. I have to spend the weekend with my dad, and I don't want to. Sometimes it breaks your heart. But it's a really good tool, just to kind of gauge where they're at. And then it's always something, that if I get an email that pops up like, hey, have you noticed something with so-and-so? I can go check. And if I haven't, if I'm like, well, no, not really, I can go and check. And then I have some data, and they have access to that too, and the counselors and the administration. And I told the girls that it's not private, right? Like, this is something that everyone can see. So I have been really impressed with Rhythm. It does have some kind of little glitches. It shows all sorts of data that I can track on them. So for SEL, I think it's probably pinpointed about as well as you can pinpoint SEL data. So I am really glad that I decided to use that, and I'm probably going to continue using that, because I think it's important. And part of our mission here at Talkington has to do with mental health and the whole student, and not just academics. So that is a priority for me. And so how has it shaped my instruction? Well, I've kind of mentioned some of that with the SEL already. I'm checking that out, and then it helps me when I'm dealing with students, but that's not necessarily instruction. The Eduphoria and the iStation data has helped me significantly. I see that we have a kind of a gap in spelling, of all things. You wouldn't think as 8th graders, but I guess it kind of makes perfect sense at the same time. So that's from iStation data, and I've been talking for 10 minutes, dang. That's from iStation data, and also from Eduphoria SEs, where I can see some trouble there. So we've been focusing more on that. There's a spelling bee option in vocabulary.com, and so I've pointed certain students towards that are struggling on that section of their ISIP, which is the test for iStation, or just in general in their writing. Let's see, how did you discuss the data with your whole class? Okay, well, we went over the 7 questions from the district assessment as a whole class. We talk about situations that I'm seeing in their writing, so that's kind of like a more informal collection of data. You know, if at the end of grading a bunch of essays, I am about to smash something because of apostrophes, which, you know, seems a little over the top, but I've been there, people. Then that tells me we need to do a mini lesson on that as a whole group. And then let's see, with the 2 learners I'm working with, we had independent conferences with our 9-week reflections and went over their data and what it pointed towards, and then talked to them about meeting or setting their next hard and smart goal for the next grading period, which we're now, in. We're already 3 weeks in, and so those went really well. The 2 learners I have are very different, which was by design, and so one learner is very inclined to make academic goals, and the other one not so much. So I was pleased that both learners set academic goals this time, and I think that looking at all the data before setting the goals kind of puts them in that frame of mind. It's not just like, oh, I would like to play my recorder this 9 weeks, something totally arbitrary, which I'm not saying it's a bad goal. I mean, their families might disagree, but I think this has been good because it's been more academic and more measurable than just, I'm going to play my recorder more. And so let's see, my data meeting. So the last thing is, what are my next steps and what do I need as far as support? My data meeting with my administrator was terrible. And I was really I was not expecting that because I thought I was really prepared, but everybody else had district assessment data to go over and I didn't have that. So she was expecting a lot of other kinds of data. And so I brought my quintile reports, which is how I group students. And then I brought, my reconfiguration of the district assessment with the SEs that we needed to work on but I had put my CFAs in the wrong part of Eduphoria, and I couldn't remember off the top of my head what each of those SEs were, and I had to go get my list, and it felt like I felt foolish, or I felt ill-prepared, I guess. And so I just need support. If any of you have regular data meetings with administrators, I would love to see what you use, because I feel like I have so much data that I don't know what to bring to that meeting. I don't know what she's going to want. I think I have a better idea now after not having what she wanted last time. But so if any of y'all have any help for me on that, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm sorry I've taken so much of your time. I've had a lot of coffee. It's Friday morning, so that's my excuse. I'm sticking with it. Thank you all, and can't wait to watch your videos and see how things are going for you. Thanks.